Sorry, it's the esoteric
denomination.
Oh, what, the Rosicrucian?
Yeah. So
okay.
I had to go through Rosicrucian degrees in my pre-studies.
Yeah.
Right. And then I found out that the literature is several different doctrines under the title of Rosicrucian with several different schools of thought. And then I had to, right, so you got Max Heindel on one side, and then you got the Rosicrucian, AMORC, right? And they symbol being the rose, and they sell books through they sell books and literature, old lost literature with new bound covers on them, right? And then they published a book called The Unto Thee I Grant.
Yeah.
Right, which was a reference book that I had to find because Noble Drew Ali sent me to look for it.
Yeah.
That's the holy instructions from the prophet in the Circle 7.
And what's that book called, sorry?
It's called Unto Thee I Grant. Originally titled The Economy of Life.
Okay. I have actually heard of this book. I'm not sure where. Because see, there's many times that I've had, because I see things play out in front of me. There's a lot of things that I do on a spiritual level. So I see a lot of things play out. I have a lot of initiations and tests in spirit because I've seen these through life. There's a lot of things that I've been recently. I actually did, when was it? It was about a few months back. I did some mushrooms, and the first vision I had was there was like a huge ass throne, golden throne, with like pure gold, and there was individuals sitting on there, and it just kept changing to different people, men and women, and it kept changing. It did it about quite well, just kept doing it, and then I switched to another, like a big chamber, and it had like an esophagus in there, and there was two men on the side, and they just put the lid on. And then when I was there and I was feeling, I realized it was me in there, but I still not sure who exactly these individuals were.
Yes, you do.
So
you second guessing yourself. You know exactly what the fuck going on.
Yeah, I do know, because I've always been quite adamant when I see things and when
it's too late for the game. Stop second guessing yourself. You know who the fuck you is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I used to kind of second guess what it is when I see things, when I sense and feel something's not right. I know 100 there isn't. I don't have to question that in any which way or form. That's something I know. So when I'm seeing things, sometimes I'm asking questions. When I ask the questions, I will always get the answers. That's what I find, because I'm an empath as well. So there was a question. The surname St. Clair. Can you give me any kind of idea about where that's from? Because when I was chasing back, we chased. Okay.
It was a little Orisha priest named Sinclair. He is the symbol of the leprechaun.
Okay.
And one of his talents was he carried a cauldron with him, and it was nothing in it. But when he came across orphans and widows in need, he dumped the cauldron, and the coins would come out. This is the story. You can't trick the leprechaun out his gold, because it only works when you tug on his heartstring.
Yeah. Yeah.
St.
Yeah.
Clair is the bloodline that the Vatican Church was trying to eliminate when
Ah.
they sent St. Patrick in.
Now it
Before
kind
they
of started.
over.
Because another thing is, when I was 7, they had these Mormons came to the house, which kind of was my father kind of agreed for them to come there. Bearing in mind, when we were brought up as Catholics. Now, when the first day I went to church when I was about 6, and I got in there, and I'm just like, something's not right here. And before the end of the service, I was like, this shit's not right.
It's funny you say that. When I was 6 years old, we was in Grand Rapids, Michigan at Bethel Pentecostal Church.
Yeah.
Pastor Abney. Pastor Abney was telling us the Jesus story. He was going over the Immaculate Conception and the birth of the Christ. And I was sitting there with my mama. And I said, Mama, why that man lying? And then she pinched the shit out of me, almost wrung my whole shoulder off in the pinch. And it hurt so bad, I felt like somebody was stabbing me with the Excalibur. And she said, you can't be saying that in church.
I did this straight away when I walked through the door. I was like, this shit's not right.
Yeah.
There's something not right about the politics.
The only reason I don't go into church and call out the preacher, because my mama said you're going to say that in church.
Yeah.
But I'll tell that motherfucker in the street, why you lying to these people? Why you telling them that Jesus is a man when you know it's ISIS? You got to know it, because I know you know that Jesus in Greek is ISIS.
Yeah.
You can't tell me you're a preacher and you don't know that piece of information. And then you telling the people the power is in the name and you giving them the wrong fucking name on purpose.
That's right. That's right. Word on that.
But I don't go to church and tell it.
Yeah. So I kind of never, but the only thing that made sense to me was spirituality. So I was like, that's what I got to roll with. It made no sense otherwise, you know. But the thing is, when I was 7, these Mormons, they came for about 5 or 6 weeks. Then they disappeared for like 5 or 6 weeks. And then they came back again for about another 5 or 6 weeks. And then on the last week, only the old lady and old guy turned up. They were there for about an hour. And then there was a knock at the door. There's 2 tall ass men, must have about over 7 foot tall. One was Canadian, one was American, and they were exactly what they looked like and everything. They came and they had to bend to get in the door, and they had these kind of, the doctor's kind of case. The doctor's case. Yeah. They had one. Yeah, they had. Both of them had one of them. They took hair, blood, saliva, and scrapings under our nails from the whole family. And then we never saw them again. And even when we were sat there, all of us are sat there like, what the fuck's this? This shit's fucked up. This shouldn't be happening. I was 7 at this time, and we were sitting there like, boy, this ain't making no sense. But they came, they took what they took, and chip. We ain't seen them again. After that is when everything went all pear-shaped. Things started going wrong in the family. My brother used to be just freaking out. Well, my oldest brother, thinking that there were snakes and things under the bed. I used to see loads of spiders in the yard. My second oldest brother was freaking out because he's saying that he'd be sleeping, and he might wake up, and there's this dark energy just kind of to force himself upon him, and he was have to fight it off. And this used to happen frequently. My younger brother, who's passed now, he used to get these nosebleeds. And at one night, he was just throwing up blood for hours to the point we thought he was going to die. He was about 5 years old. So all of these things happened, and we was like, I'm saying that this is all to do with the same thing with the Mormon, them people there. And I'm just like, there's things that I've seen and other things, but there's a lot of work that I've been doing in spirit anyway to resolve and also to clear ancestral karma. I've been working on clearing ancestral karma for years now. So, you know, my whole life really, because I was like, there's a lot of things that had to change. It didn't make no sense. It makes no sense because I do healing and therapy as well. So that's what I've always done. And I created the therapy specifically for children, young people, and to deal with mental health, because one, the children are the future, and secondly, they ain't doing nothing. They weren't doing nothing for nobody on this land. I saw that from way back when I was, even before 5. I'm like, I remember being in the womb myself, you know, and there's times where I was like, I don't want to do this when I was a child. I want to do this. I know I volunteered to come, but I don't really want to do this because this is like what they're doing to the children is my plan. That hurts me at a cellular level, what they've been doing to the children.
Realize, look, I'm going to say this, and then let me take another caller.
Yeah.
You heal others, but you won't heal yourself.
Okay.
You squandering your energy that you is required to conserve for self-realization, which would give you more energy to heal more people, right? But you're looking for a shortcut. Ain't no fucking shortcut. Heal yourself.
Okay.
You know who the fuck you is. You keep second guessing yourself. Every time it come to it, you need to have that talk with yourself, because whether you tell me the truth or a lie, you can't lie to you.
Yeah.
So you got to go back to the drawing board. Back up for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Finish your work, because when you finish your work, you can help more people and be a bigger benefit than squandering the energy before you develop the full control of the energy.
This is what I was thinking, because I do a lot of shadow work as well.
I already know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm telling you what I'm telling you, because I'm telling you where you stuck.
Yeah.
The rest of it don't matter.
Yeah.
You squandering the energy before you can control it. Learn how to control it first. You will be stronger to help more people at a faster rate, because now you can teach them to harness and control their own energy, and it can be felt deeper for it to be more effective to the people around the ones you touch.
Yeah.
You stop second guessing yourself. Go do your work.
Well, I kind of believe that anyway. I felt that was.
I already know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have no miscommunication. You don't got to explain yourself.
Yeah.
You just got to go do what you got to do for you first.
Yeah.
Right?
I hear that.
You can be a better asset when you fully develop, as opposed to being a malformed deity, a Yaldabaoth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You got to tend to number one. You can't lift up nobody else and let yourself down. That don't make sense.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean that was one of the things that I was doing, and I have improved on that a lot. So I have improved considerably, kind of doing more for myself in that sense, because I found that I was doing so much for people that I was down here and everybody was up there, and I was like, boy, this is not working.
It's
Not working.
look, it's easier to hold the pyramid with the energy projected from the top than it is to be up under that motherfucker.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I hear that, God. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. But listen, it's good. You know, I can't express the gratitude that I have for the work that you've done yourself and the many others upon the land, because at first I was thinking, boy, am I on my own doing this shit? But over time, I've gradually seen more and more, and you know, I salute you, man. I salute you, and you know, Taj and all young elder, all the man, all the women, all the man, everybody who's been on the land doing the work, because it's been tiring. Like,
look, it's time to show up and show out. Go do your work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go, God.
Big love, man. Big love, big love.
Yeah.
And again, salute you and give thanks to the world.
Look, anytime you go back to your first form and still second guessing yourself, stop. You're doing something wrong. You don't find yourself looking at yourself in a sarcophagus for no apparent reason. Right? When the gods start neglecting themselves, that shit is over with. Because you squander your energy and you help less people. You got to take care of who you are, or you're not going to have the effect that you intended to have when you wrote your book of life. Right? I know I'm going to have opposition. I know who they are. I know when they coming. I know why they're here. I know who sent them, friend or foe. I don't got to tell these motherfuckers, hey, I know you a dirty motherfucker, came to play the script. Right? Because all the time, I know who the fuck I am, so you can't trick me. I see straight off my motherfucking cockeyed vision, straightened out. Motherland and fatherland in perfect harmony. Stop second guessing who y'all is. Accept that shit, have gratitude for it, and then control your energy. Motherfuckers say what they want to say. They can't walk in your shoes while you walking in them. They can chip you, throw rocks at you, right? All that's part of the game. Sticks and stones, right? But they told you the story backwards. It's the misnomers that fucks motherfuckers up. Man know thyself is the age-old anthem. If the man know himself, he know he come from the motherfucking woman. So you can tell me, Adam, all you motherfucking want. Right? Adam had to have a mama. Nigga what? I don't give a fuck what you say. Even if his mama was an artificial uterus, he had to have a mama. Well, he couldn't have came in this motherfucker. You have to have a portal of life to get here. That's the Stargate to Earth. So motherfuckers think that you tell these babies the hard part of life is the test. Expect it. It's gonna be there. Tell them that everything in the training is on the test. And the hard part of life is to test what you was from all of the developmental processes of the past parts of life. So when you test yourself, you know where you at. But everything in the practice is not on the test. But everything in the test is in the practice. Because you can't be tested on something you haven't been presented with. You just got to realize that the hard part of life is the test. And everything that you built up for, energetically to pass the test, you got it already in you. Watch the suicide rate plummet when these babies realize that this shit's supposed to get hard and that they supposed to use their brain to think their way through the problems. And all of the problems are coming from everything you learned in your life up until the point you got miserable. Right? The depression is to cause you to recluse. But when you're in the recluse, you're supposed to go through a metamorphosis and emerge, right? Bipolar. Able to control both poles, north and south. Put the shit back where it's supposed to go. Right? Motherline, fatherline. Top and bottom. A straight fuck. I'm just saying. So once you pay attention to your own inner self, you will start to hear voices that don't belong there because it ain't yours. But you're going to know who it is. That's a program you accepted as true, playing back to you in the voice of the person who gave you that fucked up information. If you become in tune with yourself, all of the deception, voice getting dry, all of the deception will be exposed to you that you've been lied to about in your, that fucked up your psyche. The universe is not designed for us to operate off misinformation, but it does not mean somebody won't put some misinformation in our brain. We need virus protection. What is the virus protection? Practice critical thinking. Look at the different ways you can look at the different things that you look at on the smallest scale. You programming your subconscious to do it on every scale. That's what's called establishing an alignment. Establishing an alignment. Now, once you do that, people will notice it, and then they're going to listen for your experience in order to program themselves to move according to the pattern for what they need out of their life. Right? So we had a bunch of self-help authors over the past 100 and some years. Some of the best literature I ever read was motivational self-help advice material, and some of the most soothing studies to review. One of my favorites is Anthony Robbins, right? Because you can hear his voice when you be reading that shit, and then he be right there talking to you. That shit out cold. Another one of my favorites is Zig Ziglar, right? Zig Ziglar got a series of self-help books. They easy reads. I call it soul massaging literature, right? Then Napoleon Hill is the undisputed king of that self-help shit. The Outwitting the Devil is one of the coldest advisory self-help pieces of literature written in the format it's written in, that's can paint the picture so clear where you be drawn in as you part of the book. You playing your life out as a character from the book as you trying to figure out how to outwit the devil. It's a bad motherfucker. Then Understanding the Laws of Success in 16 Lessons. And when you go through the mastermind group and you understanding the 100 monkey effect and critical mass, and you keep reading, and you be like, wow, this shit is fucking genius. We create our own Gregor, the most powerful mind form ever created. And they can't do nothing about it because the women of Earth get the sanction, whether it's kept as part of the universal consciousness. So as long as we can heal the women and they can weed the bullshit out in the overall egregore of the Earth, because that's their job, the purification of the ego of the Earth, which is the egos, which keeps mama motherfucker satisfied when she pick one of these motherfucking dusty ass mans. Psychologically developed materials to effectively get information to the subconscious mind. Because once you know that shit, you can't unknow it. Right? Then you had those Johnny come latelys like Dennis Kimbrough. He was the one who rewrote Think and Grow Rich. And it was pretty cool because it got the information into the community. See, we was in a dogma versus a morals compromise based on the system of government we was under. And those who was able to motivate us with stories, it's called those are griots. And we used to do it by the fire and sing songs and all that shit. And Les Brown was the truth. But he couldn't hold on to Gladys. He was on that midnight train going back like he said he would. Whew. So the other self-help books, like Robert Greene's collection, and I love his shit. His shit like reading action or watching the action movie while you read it. And then it give you like so many little tidbits of additional information about looking at a subject from different angles for strategic reasons. Right? So I was looking at the books when I was reading them, and I said, you know, they was written out of order because the 33 strategies of war, once you master them, then you can use the 48 laws of power more effectively, right? And then you have to apply the 50th law, have no fear, right? So the 50th law was a collaboration with 50 Cent, right? Then he dropped Mastery. Mastery was all cold. But he inspired a student of Stoicism named Ryan Holiday. And he got a nice little collection of Stoic viewpoint-based information that can be applied in real time. That shit out cold. Ryan Holiday, and it's pretty good. Manly P. Hall is Masonic more so than self-help. He is a record keeper and a code flipper. So all his materials is to give you leads on what to research, right? So that's the same with Noble Drew Ali. You won't stop there. He said get a good Moorish education. You study the shit out to motherfuckers. Then he say he can count the number of Moors that's gonna make it through the aftermath on one hand and have fingers left. What is the maximum amount of fingers that you can have not make it on one hand? The most you can make it is 3 out of 5, right? So you got 2 people left. So you got a 2/5 chance of being 3/5 compromised. Fucking with Noble Drew Ali. He just tap danced all on them dumbass motherfucking lies, motherfuckers. He just tap danced all over them lies. So all the oral statements and prophecies, the hadith of Muhammad, right? So you start lining this shit up, you start seeing what they did to the social structure. Because you gotta examine it in order to dismember it and not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because you still got people that's going to suffer unnecessarily because they can't come to a realization of the monumental nature of the change they're going to see, right? They can't wrap their mind around what the change going to look like. I can. It's going to look just like this with us having a more friendly community and a more global effort to assist those that's impoverished to have the basic needs and necessities of life, food, clothing, and shelter, right? And the opportunities to educate themselves to an even higher and more advanced portion of society according to their own merit. And that's from the philosophy of the New Age. Get exactly what you earn, good, bad, or indifference. You make your own way. That means you only can be accountable for your own actions. That means take care of yourself first so that you can be the most suitable person to take care of the ones you love when they need you. You take care of yourself when they don't need you so you can be strong enough when they need you. That's energy conservation. You got to be wiser than the problems we face with in order to conquer them. You can't keep bowing down to the problem, playing victim without offering a solution to overcome. Or if you fell into some shit that they call in psychiatry, learned helplessness. You just lay there and take it. Nigga, keep fighting. Just find another way. It's more than one way to skin a cat, right? So we know they have a system, and there's nothing in their system designed to help us because we the enemy that their system referred to when they invaded, and they call us the perpetual enemy combatant to the crown of England. The British is fucking coming. Let them come. And then hand their ass back to them. So when they was talking about the red coats, they talking about the 32-degree Scottish Rite Red House. We know this shit now. It's not a secret. It was in the public domain. I just read it out loud and didn't give a fuck if you liked it or not. And it's not personal. It's just business. It's family business, which makes it personal. right? So the studying of the literature in the opportunity to build yourself up should be always like spy day. For me to get a new book is like another individual getting a new car, right? I love my books because I like to sit there, examine the book, the texture of the pages, the scent of the book as it absorbs the incense from the containers that's being kept in there with the books, and the euphoria and the rush reading the material, being able to tie your psyche into somebody else's expressions of information in order for you to be able to have an alternative view without ever having to live that person's life. He created a thing that you can use to review your life in a certain way that will give you more options when it comes to overcoming the obstacle, right? So this is what they talking about, and that's really brain banging. That's truly brain banging, right? So you fall in love with filling your brain with new information because it's not for the sake of the information. It's like weightlifting. So if these motherfucking weightlifters learned how to become intelligent in order to maximize the science of weightlifting, half of these goddamn bodybuilders is certified nutritionists that ain't got the certificate. They can look at a piece of motherfucking food and tell you the calorie count. You say, why you don't eat this? They tell you about the glucose content, the salt ratios, how it depletes this, it leaches this nutrient out of the body. And I'm like, God damn, these motherfuckers know more about nutrition in the body than the doctor know. They don't teach nutrition to doctors. What you mean? It's not part of the study. Ask any doctor. If they got nutrition, they studied it as an elective course along the way because they chose to, which should be mandatory, because the in-depth study in nutrition, a doctor that care about his patient would be 500,000 more times effective than any doctor is on his own accord with Western medicine. Just to understand that the machine got parts that got chemicals in nature that's designed to maintenance the part. If you expose the part to the nature production in order to heal the part of the body. And learning to isolate nutrition to the problem area, right? That's the science is detailed as any other, right? So you can treat with nutrition. A massive doses of vitamin C is known to relieve the symptoms permanently of schizophrenia. Massive amounts of vitamin C. They know this. The book that I was studying that gave it to me for a lead was written in the 60s and it's out of print. It was just so happened I stumbled across it in a secondhand bookstore. Right? It was called The Body. I forgot the author name. It's probably somewhere close because it's also like those self-help books. That's one of my favorite books to read. Is medical material, right? So I end up, reading a lot of stuff like Dr. Hulda Clark was a microbiologist. She's more qualified than the doctor to tell you the chemistry of the body and what it takes to overcome that part of the body being deprived of that chemical and where to get the nutritional supplement that will fill that void. Yeah. Silver. Silver is known to correct the mutation that causes the cancer cell to develop. Silver is also one of the most potent antibacterial, antivirals known to man. For wounds, the best dressing is iodine. It's a natural, like antifungal, parasitic, antiviral, antibacterial. So does iodine kill everything, right? So that's why they use it at surgery. They swab the area with the iodine solution to kill all of the surface bacteria that's around in the area that could give you something like E. coli or staphylococcus or streptococcus. All of that shit get killed by that iodine on contact, right? And irony is iodine was the first known suntan lotion. Who knows? Look it up. I used to use iodine for suntan lotion, right? Side effect of that is the iodine over the body like that simulates the melanin on the conversion of the energy from the sun which is UVAs, UVBs. The data that the body is receiving from the sun gets amplified by the iodine acting as artificial melanin, and when it gets to the DNA level in the cells, it's telling them, hey, something's wrong. You need to rearrange codon 3, codon 7, and codon 4 in order to get this anomaly corrected. So now the sun is telling the physical body how to correct anomalies in the DNA. Who knows the sun was that smart? I didn't know that motherfucker was that smart. But maybe that's why in Kemet, they draw the picture of all of those hands coming off the sun, and every one of those hands is a solar ray that's coming with a little piece of something to give you. Yeah. Another antibiotic that we don't know is an antibiotic is oregano. Oregano is a very potent antibiotic. It's one of the go-to antiviral, antibiotic, and antiseptics to the herbalists. It's they go-to for that. It's like like aspirin for headaches. Yeah, so they don't like all that's like when we look back at the practices some of our grandmothers, aunties used to do, we used to think they was crazy when they kept certain leaves in jars with honey and certain leaves in jars with vinegar and pot liquors. We wasn't knowing they was making medicines to heal all ailments in the kitchen. And so we just took them as being some kind of way off a tick. Cayenne is good for the heart, but it can cause an accelerated heart rate before the muscle is built, and it can cause a heart attack too. But it's also a good cleanse because it causes what's called magnetic mucus development in the intestines. What that means is the mucus is charged to absorb toxins by the cayenne pepper. The chemical that makes the pepper hot causes the mucus to ionize to attract the bacteria and viruses. And then when the bacteria and viruses come in contact with the same chemical that make the pepper hot, it executes the virus or the bacteria. Who do? It's an antibiotic. Anti-parasitic, right? Because sometimes we be thinking it's bacteria, but it be a parasite, right? Some of the parasites are symbiotic. They can make you have a benefit from their presence. Not like the real worm can give you intelligence. Just as down the side effects, you decide to leave, you fucked. Because he in your brain. Yeah. So I'm gonna let somebody else in. I want to talk to one of these sisters before I log off. So this was first episodes of Books and Blunts with Uncle Rod over here, chiefing on the land with the Chiefs. Hey, sweetie, how you doing?
Hi. What's
You
going
walked
on?
all the way from the phone. How you doing?
I'm good. I was actually leaning back. I was listening to you. So, but I was thinking about just some of the stuff you shared.
Where you chiming in from? Here we go with this shit. Here we go. Buffering. Okay, starting to clear up. Almost got you back.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. I sound from California.
What part? You from LA or the Bay? Upstate or downstate?
I'm from Watts. South Central. Yeah.
Yeah. Watts is critical because that's where you get the juice.
That's what you That's the second time I heard that, actually, about Watts being like the central place where all things happen. Well, because Watts exists, everything else is going on. It's like, you know,
the name Watts implies energy center.
Okay.
Like
well,
water,
yeah,
electrical terminology.
Yeah.
It's Crooked Man walking on the land.
Crooked Man.
That's Big Tookie.
Oh, yes.
Walking lightning.
The creator of the Crips. Yes. I just wanted to thank you for all the information and everything that you give out. I have some questions. I wrote it down.
All right, let's go. Let's get some Black girl magic learning up in here.
Okay. So, my first question is about human emotion and the release of it. Is that a normal thing as one continues on through their ascension process? Because I find myself like when things happen, like in the news, like I hear about something happening, let's just say school shootings, right? And I'm all like, my first thought is like, damn, what did they do in the past life that they going through this? So it's not necessarily, oh my God, the kids, oh my God, what happened to them? It's more like, what is your soul trying to learn? So is that a natural thing that's supposed to happen, or am I just like going too far deep into it with losing the human?
So you're looking at it from a lifetime event, culminating with the event you're observing, because you tying it to their karmic debt. You sensing that somebody is getting exactly what they was asking for.
And I always tie it back to we ask, or we, how can I put it? Everything that is like we ask to go through that process. So it's just basically taking responsibility for the things that happen to us, or through us, and the experiences that we go through. So, okay.
Yeah, so some of those events are exaggerations um, of the event in order to trigger an emotional reaction. If you a natural bullshit detector, it won't work on you. And it can't draw your sorrows out of you for the event because you can read behind the scenes of something else going on.
Yes.
So DJ Quick got a verse in one of his songs from the 90s saying Columbine ain't nothing new. In Compton, they shoot up schools too.
Yeah.
They cruise through trying to see who's wearing red and who's blue. But we don't get the international sensational attention drawn to a shooting in our schools, but the first victim they're going to show is this little blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl or boy that was so fucking cute as a button.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that because I remember at homecoming, it was somebody at the end of the game. Somebody pulled out a gun and started shooting, but it had a silencer on it, and like everybody was running. I was like, that shit wasn't in the news. Was never gonna be in the news, but nobody ended up getting hurt, so that was a good thing. So,
so all of those are rituals. The sensationalism of the shootings tells you where they want your attention focused at. It's the David Copperfield finna make an elephant disappear. It's on the marquee. The great illusionist, David Copperfield, makes elephant disappear. Now, we get ready to go into the doors. Everybody's saying before they go in there, I'm going to see the trick. So they already know by reading the sign it's an illusion. He ain't finna make no fucking elephant disappear. But he gonna make it look like the elephant disappeared. So now everybody swear they not gonna get tricked. And then the curtain come down and the elephant fucking gone. Where'd he go? I thought you said he wasn't gonna trick your dumb ass. So one of the 6 senses of a female when she becomes a mother, she becomes a human bullshit detector. Because it's a defense mechanism to protect her children from people with bullshit on their mind. She get a sensation in the pit of her stomach, and then she asks herself, what the fuck is that? And then she hear the voice of her big mama say, don't trust that nigga around your kids. Now, that's the same thing when you see these sensationalized events. Why you don't respond the way they want you to, because your mama's senses is turned on. And you know, every one of these kids is on either Prozac or Ritalin. Classified as bipolar under the care of a psychiatrist or psychologist. Anybody studied MK Ultra know that they do sleeper soldiers and they narcotize them with Ritalin and Prozac in studies, and they found it was the most effective sleeper agents to activate. That's all MK Ultra information from the 50s. And they running the shit on us in the 90s and the 2000s. Right? So then they can send their sleeper cells to do the dirt. It's a false flag event, but people really got hurt.
Yeah.
So then they